Have you ever wondered where the path to true love really lies? Well, we might just have the answer for you. Apparently, the way to make someone fall in love with you is to ask them a list of 36 specific questions. Yep, sounds a bit weird. Well, here to explain is psychologist and relationship expert Donna Dawson and Guardian journalist Archie Bland, who's tested the theory out. But before we ask you both about it, let's hear some of the questions.
Would you like to be famous?
When did you last sing to yourself?
Who do you want as a famous dinner guest?
Sound pretty tame, Archie, don't they? Did they work?
It's not so much the content of the questions, it's the fact that you're kind of in this increasingly sort of intense, intimate conversation with someone. And it's definitely didn't end up in romance for me, but it certainly felt like a sort of a more close relationship than we would have had otherwise.
Because obviously you did it for the article, but you didn't choose who you did it with.
No. So me and another journalist got kind of given a bit of a hospital pass by our commissioning editor, who stuck us together and told us to try and fall in love over the course of an evening, yeah.
The thing is, you must have known pretty quick whether you fancied her or not, surely.
Well, it's interesting, that stuff, because, you know, I think on one level you do, and me and Bim have known each other for a while and nothing had ever happened. But at the same time, I think the process of sort of getting to know someone better actually reveals them in a different way to you. So it becomes a bit more complicated than you might have thought in the first place.
Donna, I'll ask you about it in a second. Let's have some more questions first.
What's your most terrible memory?
How do you feel about your relationship with your mother?
If you knew that you were going to die in a year, would you change anything about the way that you live?
It's getting a bit deep, Donna. Is that the point of this, to go deep quickly and to ask questions that you might want to ask but don't really have an excuse to?
Yes, basically it's twofold. It's to make you feel vulnerable and to have this wonderful vulnerability offered to somebody who is too nice to take advantage of it. But also it's about forcing the level of intimacy much more quickly, so you get to know a lot about somebody in a short period of time. But you can't do love by numbers. 36 ways to find a lover doesn't really work. You've got to have physical chemistry, and you also have to have time on your side, because we don't like having the mystery taken away from us. On one hand, we love a list. We love anything we can tick to say, this is the easy way to get to our goal. This is why we're all curious about this. But if you take out the fact that we love a challenge, we're stubborn, we don't like being told what to do and who to love, we want to find out through our own time and our own experience, then this kind of thing doesn't really work.
The thing is, the person who came up with this, the psychologist, is a guy called Arthur Aaron, right? And he's got previous form as regards trying to quantify why we fall in love, hasn't he?
Well, he interviewed 72 couples in the lab and only had one success, so I would say that was less than chance. I would say that's a good indication that we aren't going to be told who we're going to fall in love with or how. We're going to do it in our own strange, contradictory way.
It's chemical attraction, though, isn't there? There's something
Gotta have
there.
Although I think there is something else to it as well, though. I mean, I think if you're like me and Bim and you're people who haven't really had a kind of a connection before that, or if you were just to walk up to a stranger in the street and present them with these questions, it wouldn't work. But the thing about it is that you're most likely to do it when there's actually, you know, you might go up to someone you like to be like, look, this is kind of interesting, why don't we give it a go? And if they agree, that suggests that they're open to it, and then perhaps it speeds things along.
It's about creating the openness, I think. But you could end up with just a good friend or a soulmate.
You could, but the thing is, Archie, Bim isn't here to talk about this. She might be in love with you for all we know.
Pretty sure she's not.
Let's have some more questions to talk about. Here they are.
Tell me about an embarrassing moment in your life.
Tell me about a personal problem and ask for my advice.
So tell me, what do you like about me?
Yeah, I mean, that's about the straightest question in there, isn't it? Tell me what you like about me.
Well, that's part of it. The thing is, if you already think somebody likes you before you start, you're predisposed to liking them, which opens you again to the possibility of loving them.
Now, look, the other thing we have mentioned, we've talked about the 36 questions, or at least we've had examples of them. One thing you're meant to do at the end of this, Archie, is look into your partner's eyes for 4 minutes, but without talking.
That's
I'm looking into yours
like?
now, and I'm finding it a little awkward.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, any amount of time doing that is quite intense.
Yes.
But actually, the weird thing is that it's very awkward for a minute, and then something sort of clicks, and you find yourself in a slightly different
love?
mental state.
Is that love kicking in?
I don't think it's love, but I think it's probably something that you might mistake for it, and that would give you the chance to build it.
It's your defenses dropping and just you starting to trust the person and opening yourself a little bit. I think these rules and these questions would be much better done in a relationship to try when it gets boring. I think this is the time you start to chivvy each other along with a few questions.
I hope Mrs. Barbette isn't watching right now. She might want to try it. The thing is, last question to you, Archie. Would you try this with someone that you actually genuinely perhaps thought about starting a relationship with?
Well, I don't think it would work for me anymore. I think the trouble is, once you've read the questions, you've done it. It has to be this kind of fresh experience for you. So sadly, I'm ruined for life.
Absolutely. Who's going to be completely honest? We'll never know.